them, and that would hopefully also give you all some idea about the focus and emphasis for each of the class as well that the children are in. Okay, so some house rules to begin with. This is a webinar style. So today is a webinar style. We are not doing it as the usual Zoom whereby parents, you are able to do the chat function. This one is more through the Q&A type. But because our sessions are back to back, you will realize my session is half an hour. Honestly, half an hour is also not very, very long, but I think because of the time constraints, you may leave your Q&A. My colleagues, you can see on screen now, I have my earheads with me. My colleagues will be able to respond to your queries as fast as they can through your Q&A. But if they're not able to answer your question through the Q&A, not to worry. The next opportunity will be during the earhead talk. Or if not, if the questions are more specific for the form teachers, bring it to the form teachers. If they can't answer some of your queries, not to worry, they will always bring it back for us to discuss at either the school leaders level or with the earheads as well. All right. So I think we have always made it a point and commitment. Any query that we have from parents, we will always get back in touch with you. So not to worry that suddenly my conversation with everyone, my briefing will cut short, and that your queries are not being entertained. It's not that way. Okay. On top of that, in case you're wondering whether the slides are being shared, right, we are actually doing a video recording of this session. So this video recording will be posted, and you will be able to review the video recording at the end of it. So even better than having the slides itself being sent to parents, you will be able to access the video recording. All right, the time now is 3:03. We already have at least 200 over participants. I think I will begin with my conversation, begin with my briefing to all parents. So once again, we'd like to welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us on this late afternoon in midweek. All of you are probably very busy with your work as well. The first month is already almost coming to an end, right? So that's why we always say that the days are long, but the year is really quite short. It really does speed by very quickly. First month is going to be over. In the second month, we will notice that quite a lot of different activities are also going to start to pick up. Teaching and learning has already gone well underway into the fourth week. All right. Very quick look at some of the presentation outline that I have for us today. Just three big items that I have for everyone. The first one, I just wanted to give everyone a very quick glance at Admiralty Primary School. Very simple, just a quick couple of figures as well as history and journey. The second one is about the idea of achieving alongside our admirals, but I wanted to add this word holistically. When we want our admirals to achieve, when we want them to be successful in life, it starts now. All right, but then when we talk about what success means for our children, I think the whole idea of holistic education is extremely important. The third one is about homeschool partnership. I will recommend a couple of good reads to parents. Later on, you can take a look. If you're not able to take down the website, not to worry. Because the video will also be posted, you can also refer to them. A couple of good articles that I would like to encourage all parents to read them, to share your thoughts with us as well. And then I hope that they will give you some insights, nuggets, good wisdom for us when we are on this entire journey with our children, be it as educators or as parents in your parenting journey. Okay, and then the last bit is also to share some of my thoughts on how do we create this comprehensive ecosystem of support for our admirals. All right, the homeschool partnership is one whereby teaching and learning comes very much from us as educators. Indeed, we are the professionals, we are the educators here who know the pedagogical approaches. How do we teach? How do we teach the children in the subjects that we are? How do we educate the children holistically? But as parents, naturally, you will have your own parenting style as well. So how do we come together to provide that kind of support for our admirals in a holistic manner? That is very important. A very quick glance at our history and journey. We started in 1997, especially for parents who are new to us. We are actually in our 27th year in terms of our school's history. In our midst here, parents, many of you will have been alumni of the school too. And in subsequent years, we can only imagine those numbers will continue to grow. In fact, if we were to look back maybe just at 3 years ago, our numbers of alumni in terms of children who are being signed up for our school under the alumni phase was probably only in the single digits or maybe even zero. But because we are coming of age, right? Parents amongst you, in terms of the year that you are having children and that they qualify for phase 2A, that is the alumni phase, is only just in the past few years that we are starting. But if you look at the second figure that we have a very healthy enrollment in the school, 1,265 students, and probably counting, going upwards still. We are a popular school in the north. I think we are aware of that. We are aware that HQ is also aware of that, and hence we have always had a very healthy enrollment. You will hear that at the national level, different schools, because of the catchment that we are in, because of the different profile of the schools that the children are in, they face also certain challenges. So we also want to ensure that having such a healthy enrollment means that we are able to come up with very robust programs as an entire school, working together with parents for our children. In terms of the phases of our Admiralty Primary School journey, and the acronym that we use for our school is ADPS. 1997 were really our initial years, founding years. That's the time when we started to actually found our identity. We started to also develop what it means for our children to be admirals. Also, do take note, our teachers were also coming in then from different schools in Singapore. Some of them were probably new to the entire system and they started off with Admiralty Primary School. So forging a united and very unique identity for us was really the mission in those initial years. 2000 to today, a lot of focus started also in the foundations of national education. What does it mean in terms of your belonging to Singapore? And belonging not just for Singapore citizens, but we have Singapore citizens, we have PRs, we have international students. But what does it mean to call Singapore and to call our school our home? We always like to tell our admirals that Admiralty Primary School is really your second home, right? Other than your own home, you do spend a lot of time at Admiralty Primary School. So when we teach them also about national education, it's about what does this national identity and togetherness means. So that sense of belonging, and really the journey started since 2000 till today. That's a good 24 years since then. 2013, we started our one-to-one computing program, and you can imagine the foresight of the principals then when they started this entire program, that they weren't just thinking about 2013, but they were thinking about the future. And that's when the future started to come in. They're looking at how we make use of a one-to-one computing program. Of course, starting from children, not from the P1, P2 ages, because we know that the emphasis is more on helping them to develop the strong fundamentals in numeracy literacy. But from the P3s and now in future, it will be more the P4s onwards. How do we ensure that they will be able to use the devices responsibly, right? While we put this device in their hands at an early age, we also strongly believe that our admirals can be responsible. We give them the fundamental skills so they know about cyber wellness, cyber safety, so that complements the education that's going on. You hear from the ministry talking about EdTech, Education Technology Master Plan. So we have a very bold vision for the future. And at Admiralty Primary School, our children are able to access this and they start early. When they go on to secondary school, they are in a good position. 2018 onwards, right, under the leadership of the previous principal, I think there was also a discussion with all the staff that we can continue to deepen learning. What does it mean? It really means how do we help our children to build connections between what they're learning in the classroom as well as what's happening in real life. For example, if they were to see certain phenomenon that are happening, as simple as, let's say, a rainbow. How does a rainbow form? What does that actually mean for my own learning when it comes to the science subject, right? Deepening their learning so that they can build connections with the real life, so that teaching and learning is not purely just by the subject, it's not drill and practice, but really it's about understanding the world. And of course, we do a lot of our education through understanding our ties with other parts of the world also. So pre-COVID, we did have a lot of connections bringing our P5s overseas to Malacca, to China, to Indonesia, different parts of the world. Post-pandemic, we are hosting a lot of our children and educators from other countries. But in the years to come, we are also looking at restarting some of our internationalization efforts. Okay. And I think that leads me to talk about what happens from now, right? In fact, actually, 2022, a lot of you may have heard, that is when we did an envisioning, a re-envisioning as an entire school. And that's when the school settled and agreed on this new vision as well as mission for the school. The vision is a bold one. We want all our children to be inspiring and empathetic leaders with a strong global outlook. So it's not just our admirals as students, but they are leaders. And how do we grow them to become leaders so that they are ready for the future? And we look at the mission of the school. We want to nurture them to be compassionate citizens and lifelong learners. Let me just share a little bit about what I had discussed with all our staff and also reminded our children about this journey we are on. Last year, we developed a school team to help our children to grow certain traits. We wanted them to grow these traits of gratitude, courage, and excellence. So when we talk about gratitude, we want all of them to have an attitude of gratitude. We want them to think beyond themselves. So in your conversations with your children, we also like to encourage parents to use these as dinner table topics, right? What are some things that they can do such that they are helping other people? How can they look at themselves? Actually, not just about doing things for themselves, but that they are part of something bigger than ourselves. So gratitude is a foundation of building empathy and compassion. Constantly asking your children, if let's say they come back and share news with you saying that, oh, I had a friend today who was feeling very down in the classroom. I probably actually ask them, oh, do you go up to your friend, find out a little bit more? Why was your friend feeling unhappy? Why was your friend feeling upset? Are you able to help a friend? Right, to think beyond just themselves. Courage. And I have mentioned this before. In my letter, I also wrote to everyone, it's not about being fearless. It's how we help them to overcome their fears. All our admirals as leaders, we do want them to serve with courage. And later I'll share with you some photos. Really proud to share these photos with you to show how our admirals are really like leaders serving courage. Having the courage to embark on the lifelong journey of learning, because this journey is very long. Parents, I hope all of us are also role models for our children, that we are on this lifelong journey of learning. So learning doesn't stop just because we have gone into the adult stage. All the more, actually, we should continue to learn. Excellence as a lifelong pursuit, not just at the juncture, one juncture, that's it. For P6 parents, we'll be thinking this is PSLE year, but honestly, this is only just a start of the educational journey as well, right? They are very much just starting along. Secondary school is ahead of them. There are so many opportunities out there. And hence, we want them to develop it as a habit, as a discipline, not just a destination. I had also mentioned this to children before. We want them to dream big, but you start small. So the idea of thinking global at local. And I firmly believe that all admirals actually can do it. Look at them. I think they have the potential. Every single one of them. Just to share some of the things that I have also started the year with, reminding our admirals about expectations of them. So I started off also when we welcomed all the primary 1 admirals, and I also use this chance to tell our primary 1 admirals that in Admiralty Primary School, we have a few core values. We use these core values called the GREAT values. Total of 5 values. It can be found inside our Admiral's Companion. The first one is about being gracious and kind towards others. So it goes back to our point that we want them to think beyond themselves, be gracious and respectful to others. R stands for responsibility, being responsible for my actions, my work, my belongings. So parents, sometimes I think we were all very guilty of it ourselves, right? Child has left behind the bottle, has left behind something that they will need for school. And then we have to make that decision. Do we bring it all the way from home to them? Or do we actually teach them that saying you need to be responsible for that? That particular day, you may have forgotten about it. You need to be responsible for that. You have learned your lesson. But at the same time, in school, not to worry, teachers will always guide them to say, okay, if you forgot a water bottle, What other ways can we actually go about doing it to make sure that you will get your water as well? But they will learn from that. That I cannot expect my daddy, my mom to always be bringing things for me. I cannot expect daddy, mommy to be the ones telling me to pack my bag. I have to do it myself. Primary one children or primary one admirals, they can start already. All right. So it's how do we build that routine with them? To have integrity and be honest, own up to the mistakes that they have made, and then just grow from there. Be a good team player immediately for our P1 admirals, even for our P2s who are in our lower primary block. You will realize that the school setting is so much bigger than a preschool setting. The dynamics between the children are so different as well. In the preschool setting, you have maybe a class is at most 15 to 20 students. The work that they are doing, they don't manage the academics in terms of the rigor as much as what is happening in a primary school. How do we then work as an entire team to make things work out for us? And then lastly is about grit, having that perseverance, having that grit. And what we want to achieve excellence. So let me just share with you some thoughts about how we can achieve alongside our admirals. I think the first thing is about that strong belief in holistic education. We need to start with our beliefs and expectations, because that is beginning with the end in mind. When we have a strong belief in a holistic education, so it's not just about academics, doing well in academics and everything else is not important. That's not true. In fact, the academic and non-academic domains are equally important. The core and the co-curricular activities are equally important. And when I mentioned that I have a strong belief in all our admirals, what we do as a school is we support them to achieve holistically. I'm just going to give you a couple of examples of how, in terms of the outcomes that we have had, but this is just two outcomes, quantitative outcomes out of many different things that our children are capable of. Okay, I hope parents don't be too fixated on just these outcomes that I'm going to mention, but it's just an example because I want to point out to you that as an entire school, when we do things right, results should come naturally to us. Okay. P6, last year's P6 parents would know. So this year they will have graduated together with the parents. Some of you will have younger children still with us, but we have consistently maintained high percentage of students eligible for posting group 3. Previously, it's known as the express stream or the express NA option bank. Over 70% of our children. Highest number of students admitted to secondary school via direct schools admission. And if you're not too sure what DSA is all about, good to probably just search a little bit online. In MOE's website, you'll be able to find out a little bit more information about what DSA is all about. We had a total of 44 students who were accepted to secondary schools via DSA route alone. Right? These are our P6 children, last year's P6 children, graduating batch. 44 of them. And that works out to more than 20% of the 2023 P6 student cohort. It's not a small number. Nationally, in terms of the percentage of students who do graduate from the school and get accepted to the secondary school via DSA, it's not 20%, right? It usually is slightly lower than that. So this is the across the years in terms of the trend of our children being posted to secondary school based on eligibility. If you look since 2020 all the way to 2023, there will always be fluctuations, and fluctuations are to be expected. Cohorts of students are different, conditions are different and all, but you realize that we have been quite consistent in terms of over 70% of our children qualify for posting group 3. In the middle is about 17%. We will have a few students who will probably be able to go into the secondary schools via posting group 1. In the past, posting group 1 is our so-called NT stream. But also do find out a little bit more. We have already removed all the streams at the national level. No such thing as NT, NA, Express, because there is this thing called full subject-based banding at the secondary level. It's to cater to children's different abilities in terms of the different subjects, because we realize that some students are stronger at mathematics, maybe weaker at English, and vice versa. And hence, we want to make sure that the pitching and the subjects that they can take is at the correct level. So in a nutshell, that is what full subject-based banding at secondary school is all about. Again, I would like to encourage all parents, find out a little bit more. P6 parents, in the course of the year, we will have a couple of 1 or 2 town halls that will explain a little bit more about secondary school choice and what full subject-based banding is all about. So I wanted to highlight that DSA is a viable option for our admirals. Why so? Because the way that we go about our curriculum is that we focus a lot on developing 21cc and transferable skills for our children. Earlier, I mentioned about the importance of academic and non-academic, core and co. This is extremely important. And when we partner parents in this, we advise our students and make them think about the choice they're going to make for secondary school choice. So I think these numbers are a very good indication that I think our program and the way that we're going about doing this is working. All the way back to 2018, when the numbers were single digits, 9 students, right, thereabouts, and it started to really grow when we had that kind of mentoring and coaching for our children, partnering parents to let parents know more about what DSA is all about, all the way until just last year, where we had 44 students who graduated from us via the DSA route. I don't think that year on year we are able to achieve always that kind of 40 over numbers. Right? I think we ought to be realistic as well. At the end of the day, DSA is not meant to be the main route for our children to be entering secondary schools. But the whole point here is that it's a viable option. Through our CCAs, through our leadership opportunities and service opportunities, our children learn more about what is their own value proposition, how can they build their own confidence and their own skills, and hence they are able to enter another secondary school via DSA. So this framework, some of you will have seen it a few times. I would like to encourage parents to go onto the MOE website to find out a little bit more, because in the years to come, there's going to be even greater emphasis in this. Assessment is not just about the subject assessment, like English, math, science, so on and so forth. When we talk about assessment, we're talking about holistic assessment. How do we know whether our students are learning? 21st century competencies is critical for them. They need to build these competencies, because ultimately we want all our admirals, all of them to be confident people, self-directed learners, concerned citizens, and active contributors. These 4 desired outcomes of education are not unique to Admiralty Primary School. It's something that the ministry has drawn up for all our students in Singapore. And hence at Admiralty Primary School, we are aligned with the national posture, with the national direction. And we want to make sure that all our children can be this. So have this at the back of our minds when we are educating our children, when we are developing them. These are the things that we want them to become. Inside the orange ring, if you look at that Swiss roll, if I may call that a Swiss roll 21cc framework, inside the orange ring, these are referring to what we call the 21st century competencies. When right now, all of us as adults in our workplace, we realize that we need all these things. So in our children, we need to develop in them all these things. The pink color Swiss roll part layer is actually the social emotional competencies that we need our children to have. How do they manage themselves? How do they manage their relationships with friends? What is responsible decision making? So on and so forth. Then the core values are at the center. Homeschool partnership. This is what I mentioned about the 2 good reads that I would like parents. You may snap a picture, you may just take note of this. Easy to find. If you were to just Google, Minister Chan Chun Sing actually at the start of the year mentioned this. I think in view of school reopening, they know that he knows that anxiety of the parents is going to be there, because after all, transiting to a new environment, some because they're going on from one level to the next level. And I think the independence of our children that we want to grow in them requires all of us to give them the space, give them the time, and trust the process. Continue working with the school. I think the homeschool partnership is very important for this. So in the course of the entire year, as much as possible, I have given my teachers very, very clear direction. Never wait till too late to give parents, all of you, feedback on how your child is doing. In fact, when you do observe certain things, good, bad, right, doesn't matter. Get in touch with the parents, get in touch with you to share with you. The whole idea here is to share how can we work together to grow them. So also don't feel taken aback if, let's say, the teachers do point out to you, they observe certain things and they just wanted to point out to you. It's definitely not to complain to parents. Also, parents, I do want to assure you, it's not to complain to you, but to actually to find out from you, these are certain observations we have made. Some of these things also what you have observed at home. Let's try and work together on this, because then in school, I think the teachers will be able to say, okay, in the classroom management, they know how to work with the children better because they have a certain background and understanding. Second article, I was just reading this yesterday as well. And as a parent myself, I find this very enlightening. So it's not just an article that's coming from MOE, but it's from Health Hub, so HPB, MOH themselves. How do you build resilience in the child? Right? I think that all of our children really depend on the adults to help them to develop and grow them. But what can we do to build resilience in our children? Building that resilience in them is one of the best gifts that we can give them, because we know that we can't be there with them and for them for life. The independence needs to be there. So if I may say, a few tips for growing that comprehensive ecosystem of support for our children. I mentioned this just now already. Do work closely with my teachers to better understand our children's strengths, areas of growth, affirmations, concerns. Mutual reinforcements of the right habits and routines. Sometimes because parents, you all are also very busy working adults, quite a lot of us are. Hence, you may not have the time and opportunity to develop some of these routines when the children are at home. Not to worry. I think we are always pointing out to you what are some of these habits and routines, so you can try and help us to reinforce some of them as well. Starting each day right with the right values. Punctuality, reading widely and critically. I always come back to these two that I'm very particular about, and I think that our children need to develop this in them. So cultivating the habit of reading in school and at home. And for us, let's try and role model that as much as possible. Okay, let's give them their very print-rich kind of environment. Books are readily available, a wide range of books. Some very operational but then important things we wanted to mention also. Important announcements are sent via PG to parents, sometimes from school, sometimes from MOE. Do turn on notifications to be kept updated, right? I know sometimes quite a lot of notifications come in, so you can be selective as well. You read the thing and see whether you need to go in detail. But usually when it comes from school, I'd like to encourage you to read in detail, okay? Especially because some of these things are pertaining to your child and what is required of parents to help us with. Join the PSG. I think we have already made a few pictures and we are very, very encouraged by the support that has been given. Right? Because it is an ideal platform for you to make a difference, not just for your child, but also for the school, for us to work together to help us as well. Okay, I've left a couple of contact details here. Last thing that I do want to actually mention, a couple of things. Wanted to mention this thing about, and I put in inverted commas, catching our admirals doing right. Just a couple of days ago, a few days ago, I shared with all the admirals my disappointment at the state of littering in the school, at the state of cleanliness in the school. Because our children, I don't think that most of them did it on purpose. I think it was probably accidental, but they weren't very mindful that the surroundings was actually quite dirty, especially in the canteen after the HSB, after their lunch break. After I had spoken to the students, and hence I put the ball back in their courts, and I told them, children, in order for the school environment to be clean, do not depend on the uncles and aunties and our attendants who are cleaning, because they are aged as well, most of them. And while it is true, it is part of the job to make sure that it's clean, but they shouldn't be cleaning up after you. It's not fair to them that you drop your own litter and then someone else has to clean up after you. Because I can't imagine if they're doing that at home or in the classroom at where they're sitting. And hence I put that challenge to them. At the end of the day, it's up to you as admirals to do the right thing and to actually live up to those expectations and be leaders and serve. And look at what they are capable of doing. At where you are, perhaps you can give yourselves a round of applause, give our children a round of applause. After we told them about that, and we put a challenge to them. This is just one level. I managed to get pictures from one level, but understand that different classes are all picking this up already. This was a P4 level, I believe, right? P4 level. The children, on their own accord, without the teachers talking, went to go and pick up the paper from the side because we have dry tissues at the side. Some of the soap solution, started cleaning up. Some started to borrow the broom and the dustpan and went to clean up after they were done. Clean up not just for themselves, they clean up for the entire class, they clean up for other classes as well. This is really very encouraging. And I can only imagine if they keep up with this, that it becomes an entire school effort and it has come from the children themselves. And I'm extremely proud of them. We told the children that themselves, and I told them that then you shouldn't only be doing this in school. Please do that at home. So parents, if you don't see them doing that at home, you can remind them and tell them, if you are doing this at Admiralty Primary School, which is your second home, why don't you do it in your first home as well? I think that our children were doing this with, you can see them chatting away and having fun when they were doing this. And they realize that it really is part of the entire culture. So if I may just leave everyone with one last quote. The best gift for admirals, and I think that this is a really very nice quote from this researcher and author called Carol Dweck, a researcher who is very renowned for this idea of growth mindset. What she said is, if parents want to give their children a gift, the best thing they can do is to teach their children to love challenges, be intrigued by mistakes, enjoy effort, and keep learning. That way, their children don't have to be slaves of praise. They will have a lifelong way to build and repair their own confidence. Okay? So parents, thank you so much. And I think that's it. Okay? Okay, just wanted to check because I think there was a hand raised. Okay, if I'm not sure whether there is anything that we can help you with, but because I also have overrun, may I suggest this? This message goes out to Miss Michelle Chow, right? If you have a question, don't mind, could you do us a favor? If you do have a question, because sometimes I understand you may have accidentally clicked on the raise hand button, but if you do have a question, maybe you can drop that message to the form teachers. Definitely, if it's for the school leaders, the form teachers will bring to us and we'll get back to you for sure. Okay, otherwise, I will pass the time over. Oh, okay. Okay. Maybe, okay, so a couple of questions I'll just quickly address right now. And don't mind, I will address these two questions before I pass the time over to the year heads. First one, can subsequent parent engagement sessions, parent-teacher meetings be held in person? Other schools seem to have converted to in-person sessions already. We will try and strike a balance for this. There is a very good reason why we had decided to go with Zoom for now still, is because of the timings that we have held. And I'm not sure about other schools how they do it. Probably they do it at roughly the same timing as well. Is the feedback that we have also gotten from quite a few of the parents here is that when it's done via Zoom, they could view it at their own time as well. If let's say it's a recording like this, which technically I could also record if it's in person, no issues with that. Two is because if they want to join in, they can join in from wherever they are as well. They don't really have to take leave or exactly time off for the entire duration, just for that duration, just for a bit of time to zoom in from wherever they are. We are in discussion of possibilities, so let me share. I think we will do a mix. There are probably some sessions which is like the entire school, which I think that a Zoom may still work better. If there are engagements with certain levels, we may have face-to-face. I thank you for that feedback. And yes, I think we will also do a bit of a hybrid. All right. Second one, may I know the reason for the long school hours? I understand that CCA takes up about 2 hours to 4, that means 4 periods, which comes to 2 days of extra 1 hour. By the time they reach home will be 3 p.m. They still need to go for ICT lessons, extra trainings for CCA, so on and so forth. Okay. Let me address this question because it has come up a few times before. The main reason for our long school hours that we dismiss at 2:10 instead of 1:30 is this. Most schools that ends at 2:10, at 1:30 do not have a lunch period catered for the children. But in our school, we have both a HSB as well as a lunch period, 30 to 40 minutes that's given to our students. And that is how that 30 to 40 minutes come about. That extra 30, 40 minutes, that's why they end at 2:10 every day. That is so that lunch is catered for children because they are young. We want to make sure that they have their lunch at the proper timings, which is at 12 noon, right? Thereabouts at 12 noon. Otherwise, what happens is after we have assessed, they go back very late. By the time they reach back home, get showered, and they are able to get started to have their lunch, sometimes it's already 2 plus, 2:30. So if I could share very frankly, for my old daughter, her school ends at 1:30. By the time she takes the school bus and she reaches back home, it's 2:30. So 1:30, she's released. By the time she reaches back home, it's 2:30. By the time that she gets ready to have her lunch, it's 3 o'clock. I personally think that for me, is a bit late. For children that young, I think it's a little bit late. Hence, that's why we make that conscious decision. And MOE's take is always that as long as you have school that goes beyond 1:30, the lunch period should be catered for the children. And hence, we do it that way. But hence, because knowing that our schedule looks like that, our school hours look like that, then we seek parents' understanding is arrange for whatever activities that are around these timings. Okay, but already by the time that they go back, sometimes if let's say they don't have anything else after 2:10 and they do go back, you have at least the assurance to know that lunch has already been settled for the children. Okay, can. So you see again amongst parents, I do see that Zoom will be preferred because then you can zoom in for wherever you are. So I do understand. I think different parents, you will have different preferences. We can probably send out a questionnaire to find out a little bit more, and then we will have to go with the majority. I hope that parents you will seek understanding of that. Okay, I will have to stop here because we will have to transit to the next session. And I'll hand the time over to the year heads to give more information. Thank you so much.
Hello, parents. Hi, in case you're wondering what's happening, so we are transiting from the principal session to the year head P5 and P6 year head session. So for P3 and P4 parents, I think this is the concurrent session for you to meet the form teachers. So P3 and P4 parents, you may actually leave this meeting now to join the form teacher session where your form teachers have communicated with you privately with their own Zoom details. Right, so for parents who are interested in the P5 and P6 matters, you can stay around and we will start in a few minutes' time. There were also questions about where is the P3 and the P4, likewise for the P1 and P2's year head session as well. It will be here, just that it will be back to back. So we will start off with the P5 and P6 year head session first, followed by the P1 and 2, and then the P3 and P4. So each of the year head session will take about 30 minutes. Okay. So we wait for the number to stabilize and then we will start in a short while. Right, parents, while waiting, you can actually take a look at this screen and you can also then use this to note down the details of my email address so that we can communicate via my email if there's a need for you to raise any concerns. Okay, so we'll just wait a couple more seconds for the numbers to stabilize. Right, parents, I see the number has actually stabilized, so I think we will start. So parents who are here, I believe you are all here for the P5 and P6 segment because your child is here at the P5 and P6 level. And first of all, I just want to thank everyone for your time, especially for those parents who have submitted your questions through our parent gateway. So I think on the screen, you can see just some of the questions that some of us have actually posted. And all these questions, we have taken note and we have incorporated them to shape this presentation today, right? So throughout the presentation later on, you will see some of your questions being answered. And not to worry, if your questions are not being raised in this segment, you can actually put it down in the Q&A, and my colleagues together with me will be Madam Fahiza, the P3 and P4 year head, and also Madam Yenny and Madam Fahana, the P1 and P2 year head, will be here to help answer all your questions. Okay, so I believe from all these questions that you see on the screen right now, most of the questions here actually is regarding the PSLE matters, right? And I think Mr. Chen just now has shared with us the PSLE result for 2023. And it's actually not an easy feat to maintain a 70% of posting group 3 eligibility for the many years. And some of you may be wondering then, what is the secret formula that our school has, right? Is it that we are giving more homework than other schools, or do we have more lessons for our students? And actually, there's no real secret formula in this case, because what we are doing is actually in line with what the national posture is, which I'll just show this article over here in 2022 about our students pursuing the joy of learning instead of just being fixated with their examination results. So we are actually moving away from the traditional method of drilling and practice, doing papers after papers, and sometimes about memorizing different concepts to help them answer the different questions. So we are actually moving away from that, and we are advocating our students to move away from that as well. So it really takes a lot, because to change our approach and to change our mindset, a lot of our traditional practice will have to change. And it came to our attention that with the traditional approach, learning sometimes is no longer that enjoyable. All right. And because of that, our students are not getting the depth of knowledge that it comes from learning, because learning needs to be alive. Students needs to have involvement in the experiments, in the hands-on activities, so that they can apply those knowledge and skills in the real world context. Okay, and this is actually no different, especially this from our ex-minister, Minister Heng, talking about learning for life and how our parents are an important part in this process. And in his speech, he did mention about us moving away from examinations and grades towards acquiring deep skills. And if this is not done well, right, we may lead to a dystopian future where stress levels climb. Let me share with you a survey that was conducted. And in this survey, you can see these are numbers that of our percentage of our students who have actually felt stress because of all the following factors that you see on the screen. And although this number may seem small, these numbers do actually reflect a great deal, because it reflects percentage of students who are very stressed about the situation and are very helpless on how they can overcome all these stresses. Just to highlight a few, expectation from others and expectation from selves are the highest two stresses that our students in Admiralty primary schools are facing. And this data is actually collected from our current P6 students this year. And you also can see across the years from 2021 to 2023, there is a sharp jump in both of these stresses, from 22 to 23%, all the way to 29%. That also actually means that about 1 in every 3 kids feel very stressed over their relationship with others. It could be parents, it could be friends, it could be teachers, right? And also how this expectation of themselves doing very well for the PSLE, because our P6s are taking PSLE this year. So we need to understand our students a little bit better. And about how we can then motivate them in the right way that doesn't result in them having so much stress over overcoming all these challenges, right? So we also understand that having expectation may not necessarily be such a bad thing, right? We can have healthy and unhealthy expectations. So then as adults, to our students, to your children, how then do we set healthy expectations to focus more on the process rather than the end product? For example, getting them to focus more on the improvement in their grades rather than meeting a certain expectation or certain grade. So that the students focus more on the process, so that they know that, okay, I may not be there yet, but I'm working towards it, and I can see that my efforts are actually helping me to work towards the final destination. Now, not just in our school, I believe in MOE, all right, there's a systemic shift over the years as well. And all the way back to 2008, right, to now, you can see that the different changes that happen along the years, that we are taking steps to inculcate this joy of learning and trying to move away from the overemphasis of academic grades. Just taking DSA, for example, we do not want just students to focus on academic grades to get into their secondary schools, but opening this alternative route for students that have other unique strengths and talents, and how they can then use these unique strengths and talent to help secure a place in the secondary school. And more recently, the new AL system, moving away from the T-score system that we used to go through in the past. And now, instead of having 300 possible scores, we now have only 29 possible scores from AL1 all the way to AL30, right? So this actually helps our students and also our parents not to chase after the very last score in the old T-score system, because in the old T-score system, every 1 point do matters, right? And that could be also the cutoff for the secondary schools in order for them to prioritize who will enter their secondary school. But now with this broadened approach, we will find that more students are able to enter the school of their choice and not so fixated over the very last point that they should be getting. And also to share another article, in 2021, there's no school that have a cutoff point of AL4 or AL5. To translate it directly, is almost a perfect score or almost perfect score for the PSLE AL system. And this is also a signal that we want to let all parents know that there's no need for us to be 100%, to score 100 points or 100% for all the papers, because no schools actually require that kind of cut-off score. And this is some of the signal and the message that we would like to drive across. Also, to share a quote from Daryl Quack, I think my principal, Mr. Chen, did share a quote as well. But over here, there's a different slant to it, because I think what we want to focus is not so much on the path that we want to create for the child, but more rather to prepare the child for the path. So I will take one question as an example. How do we prepare for DSA interview? I think the thing that we want to address here is not so much about how to help our students score well for the DSA interview, but rather what are the things that they have learned along the way that help build that confidence when they attend the DSA interview. Is it their oracy skills that they picked up in their English lesson? All right, is it the confidence that they exhibit when they are having a face-to-face conversation with someone? So instead of us preparing that path, I think we need to start to think about the different approach that we can to promote that joy of learning, so that our children will be ready for the path that is set out for them. Then what is our school's approach then to align to the national posture? So in our school, I believe Mr. Chen did mention just now, DSA is an alternative pathway for our students using their talents and their strength. I think some of our parents are already asking questions like, how do I go about applying for DSA, and what do I need to do for DSA? Not to worry, DSA has not opened yet, and this will only open somewhere in April or May this year, right? And more details will be sent out as the date approaches. And to help back up this DSA, we do have another program, which is ECG, Education and Career Guidance, to help our students make informed decisions, to understand themselves more, to be more self-aware of what is happening with them, about what their interests are, what are their strengths, and what aspirations do they have. So ultimately, after understanding who they are, what they are good at, this will help make them create a more informed decision, so that whenever they go to a secondary school, or whenever they choose to go to a secondary school, they will be able to make a good decision, not based on their academic results only, but also focusing on the core curriculum. Just to show some statistics as well, so DSA has actually increased over the years. You can see in terms of application and also offers received. So these numbers are a healthy sign that more students are taking it up. And I think just now in the Q&A segment, one of the parents asked, what are the different talent areas that these 44 students that we had who had been successful with their DSA. So below you can see there are actually many talent areas that all our students can actually pursue. And it's not just for CCA that is related to games and sports, but we do have uniform groups or leadership roles for them to choose as the talent area when they select the school for their DSA. All right, I'll just pause here for a while in case parents are interested in what are the different talent areas that your child can actually apply for. Okay. So also another statistics, actually 1 in every 4 students have applied for DSA. So this is different from what Mr. Chen mentioned, because in our school, we have more than 20% who are successful with DSA application. But this data here actually shows another data, which is just to see how many applicants there are. Now, I think another thing that more parents will be interested in as well is the PSLE AL score system. So below you can see on the screen, we do have the different AL score all the way from AL score 1 to 8, which all students can get for each of the individual subjects based on the raw marks that they get. So for example, if a child scores 66 for their English, they will be getting a AL5 for their English subject. Now for students who are taking foundation, not to worry, because the scores that they get for the foundation subjects will be mapped to the standard stream as well. So if the child scores A in the foundation paper, it will be mapped to an AL6 for English, just for an example. All right, I'll also pause here for a quick moment for you to take a screenshot of this if you are interested. Right, moving on. So after collating so many AL scores, when you put them all together, right, this chart over here, you can see, based on the total AL score that the child gets, they will be posted to the different posting group. I think just now in one of the segments, one of the parents asked, what will happen if the child is posted to posting group 2 or posting group 1? Will that mean that the child will have to repeat? So that was the question raised just now. Not to worry. Maybe let me just help to explain this chart over here. So there in the old system, we do have the express, normal academic, and normal technical. And right now, this what it translates to is the old system of the express is actually translated to posting group 3 for now. And the old system of the normal academic stream is now mapped to posting group 2. And likewise, for normal technical stream, will be mapped to posting group 1. So if a child gets into posting group 2 or posting group 1, they still qualify to progress to the secondary school. Just that they are posted to the different posting group. And because of that, they will be taking different levels for the different subjects. So for example, a child can be very good at English. Even though the child is posted to posting group 2, they may be offered a G3 for English when he or she is posted to a secondary school. Okay, I hope I explained that well enough. Now, moving on to assessment, and I think this is something that parents will be interested in as well. So this will be the assessment weighting for the year for the P5 level. Maybe I'll just take this chance to also point out, for mathematics, you do notice that there is no weighted assessment in term 1, but however, there is an ongoing assessment that happens from the beginning of the year till the end of term 3. And this will actually take up about 15% of the weighting. This will include journaling and performance assessment. Likewise, for science, we do have another 15% that is ongoing throughout the year on their journaling and their learning disposition. For mother tongue, do notice that there is a difference between the standard mother tongue and the foundation mother tongue. So for term 1 and term 2, mother tongue will have the same mode of assessment. But for term 3, for foundation mother tongue, you will be sitting for a main paper, which is about 15%. Right, for the other subjects, English, math, science, and higher mother tongue, it will be the same for both standard and foundation. All right, moving on to P6. So P6 weighting is much narrow because a lot of it will be done before term 3, as our students will be taking their PSLE examination in term 4. So just to highlight, for mathematics, there is also no weighted assessment in term 1 and an ongoing assessment of 15% from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So I'll just pause here for parents to take a snapshot of this. Now, I believe this is the second last slide for me. So let me thank all parents for your continuous support, because we have 100% onboarding for Parent Gateway. And I believe some of you have already received a Parent Gateway announcement from me talking about PSLE booklets and also this parent engagement session. I also like to take this chance to remind all of us to turn on the notification, because I think by default, when you install the app, the notification could be turned off by default. And also what we will usually do is to send out a WhatsApp broadcast. So do save our school's WhatsApp number to receive the broadcast detail. The last slide for me. So I know some of the parents are already asking, when is the extra lesson? When is the structured lesson? And here are the details. For Tuesday, we will have the English, Math, Science subject for 45 minutes each. So on a particular day, we will probably only have 2 subjects, probably English or Math. And then for the next week, then we'll do a rotation. Then for Thursdays, we will have the higher mother tongue and the mother tongue structured lessons from 2:15 to 3:15. All right, if it's higher mother tongue, it will be until 3:45. And so questions are being asked, when are we starting? We will start after the Chinese New Year break, which is at term 1, week 8. All right, the exact date will be on the 20th of February. Now, another thing that I would like to encourage all parents is, if your child is interested to stay behind in school to study, we have actually engaged an old teacher, an ex-teacher who used to be with us, and we have actually engaged him to be in the library to coach students, or rather coin it the study room, to coach students who are staying behind, who needs help with their homework or their revision. And this is every day from Monday to Thursday. Sorry, not every day, only Mondays to Thursday from 2:15 to 5 p.m. All right, so for parents who have no home support, if there's nobody at home to help your child with the revision or to help the child to finish up with the homework, we do encourage them to stay behind in the study room. And we do have an ex-teacher here to guide them along the way. All right, so this is actually the last slide from me, and due to time constraint, I am unable to take any questions online, but maybe can I just take one very quick question, so that because I do see one that is pertaining to the assessment. Sorry, then may I take a screenshot of the P6 assessment, please? Not to worry, because we will upload this Zoom video into our school's YouTube channel. So you can go into our school YouTube channel to review this whole segment again, whether is it from the principal or the different year head segment, and you will be able to find all these details in the school's YouTube channel. Okay. All right, then if that's the case, let me answer those questions offline. So I will reply you manually via the chats function. If not, then maybe I'll let the P3 and P4 parents to start returning to this session, because the P1 and P2 parents to return to this segment for the P1 and P2 year head. For parents who are in the P1 and P2, they'll be coming in. So parents who in the P5 and the P6, you may actually leave this Zoom meeting to attend the form teacher segment now. All right. Thank you so much for your time, parents.
Okay, so hi, a very good afternoon to all parents here. I am Madam Fahana, the Assistant Year Head for Primary 2. So I'm working alongside with my Year Head, who is Madam Yenny. So I would like to thank all of you for taking your time away from work to join us in today's parent engagement. Perhaps we can wait for a couple of minutes for the other parents to join us, the P1 and P2 parents to join us for this session. Thank you. All right, so once again, a very good afternoon to all of you. So these are our contact details, myself and also Madam Yenny. So please do not hesitate to drop us an email at the following email addresses. So we appreciate you for working with us hand in hand for the growth of our Admirals. Okay, so I'm sure we all have heard this famous African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. So in a school context, it takes a village to raise a child underscores the collaborative effort teachers, parents, community members, and peers in fostering a holistic educational environment for our students. So this is very important to develop and emphasize, a supportive network for their overall well-being. Parents, we are all vital members of the educational village. So fostering supportive home environment complements the learning that happens in school. Okay. So this is the presentation outline that we have. First, we will share some key information such as level expectations, learning dispositions, and also school-based assessment plans. Next, we will talk about how we can partner parents better. And lastly, some executive functioning skills. If we do not have time for that, we might, have to postpone that. All right. So, firstly, at P1 and P2, we want students to remember the ABCs. A being attire, behavior for B, and C for communication. So it serves as important aspect of teaching kids about social skills and appropriate conduct. So attire, we want all our Admirals to be neat and tidy in their appearance at all times. So it would be good if you can teach them how to tuck in their shirts properly. In terms of hygiene, we want them to know, it's important to keep their, for example, nails clean, especially when we do our nail check sometimes. And then in terms of behavior, it's very important for our students to learn how to respect others. We want them to understand the importance of treating others with kindness and empathy. And we also want them to learn conflict resolution, how to resolve conflicts peacefully and express their feelings in a constructive way. In terms of communication, We want students to have good verbal communication. We want them to be very respectful in their verbal communication and also express themselves confidently. So modeling these behaviors is crucial, and consistent reinforcement of positive behaviors and open communication about expectations will help instill good habits in our admirals as they navigate social interactions and develop interpersonal skills. All right. So this is the school-based adjustment structure. At primary 1 and primary 2, there are no examinations or weighted assessments. We use qualitative descriptors to report students' learning. So there are 4 bands: beginning, developing, competent, and accomplished. So if the child has achieved accomplished for a particular learning outcome, it means that the child has grasped the concept and subject well and is able to relate it to real-life applications. Okay. So now moving on is the assessment plans. I'm sure you're wondering, how do we assess our young admirals if there are no examinations? We gather information about students' learning through various checkpoints, example, class discussions, in-class work, homework, and also bite-sized assessments. However, please note that these checkpoints will no longer account towards an overall result. It is for teachers to see how we can help our admirals grow and also stretch the high ability ones. So in the report book, you'll see the qualitative descriptors instead of marks and grades. Okay. So this is the sample of how the report book will look like. Okay. We will provide a holistic report for every subject, which states on ways on how you can help your child grow. So on the right side is the holistic report. So as mentioned earlier, these are some samples on how we will assess your child through class worksheets, topical reviews. We also have some hands-on practical sessions for math. So as you can see on the screen here, the ones circled in red, these are some ways for us to assess your child's confidence in speaking. So this can be done either in their mother tongue language or also English language. So how will I then know about my child's progress? Teachers will monitor the students' learning and progress through daily interactions, okay, in the classroom. So our teachers care for their students' well-being, and as such, they will update and partner each and every parent here, and share with you what they have observed and whether there are some concerns with students' learning. So not to worry, no exams, we will still have communication, we will inform you about your child's progress. So now let's move on to the EduSave Merit Bursary and Good Progress Awards. So these awards are usually based on students' learning dispositions. These are the criteria for the EduSave Merit Bursary and also Good Progress Award. So what are learning dispositions? Learning dispositions refer to the attitudes, behaviors, and characteristics that influence how a student approaches learning and problem solving. So these dispositions play a significant role in a child's ability to adapt, persist, and engage in the learning process. So some key learning dispositions include curiosity, being curious to learn and explore learning, always asking questions, and being resilient, not giving up easily when they are faced with challenges and they continue to try. So for the Good Progress Award on the right, you can see that it's only applicable for P2s and above. Students who do not qualify for EMB, all right, but showed the greatest improvement in the learning disposition in the course of the year and have demonstrated good conduct will be awarded Good Progress Award. Okay. So do look through your child's Admiral's Companion, page 30. The learning dispositions are stated in the companion book. It is vital for our students to demonstrate the school values grit, being a curious and reflective learner in order to showcase the learning dispositions. So for you to find out what your child is currently learning, you can refer to your child's notes for the different subjects and also refer to the lesson focus. This gives you the opportunity to reinforce learning at home and ensure that your child practice regularly. Okay, so where can you find the lesson focus? You can retrieve the lesson focus from our school website under general information and then go to level matters. Okay, the updated lesson focus will be uploaded to the school website by the end of this week. Because if you go currently, these are the last year's lesson focus. There are some updates to the lesson focus, so do check it by the end of this week. So how will the sample lesson focus look like? This is how it will look like. And for example, in term 1, primary 1 Admirals will learn about numbers to 10 for math. So they need to be able to write number bonds for a given number up to 10. So yeah, so this is the sample. Okay, moving on to partnering parents. It is important for us to work together for the child's holistic development. So through partnership and shared responsibility, we can increase the achievement and success for every child. So I think it's very important for us to work hand in hand. Okay, now is the executive functioning skills. Okay, so there are many different executive functions. So 3 aspects of executive functioning skills that we want our P1 and P2 Admirals to have are self-control, organization, and attention. Okay, so I've boxed it up in red. So these are the 3 that we want to concentrate for our young Admirals for now. Okay, so self-control is a key component of the EFS because it allows individuals to regulate their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Developing self-control in children is crucial, okay, for their academic success, social interactions, and overall well-being. So some children do not know how to control their emotions yet, and probably because they are still quite young. Okay, so what are some ways that we can help our young Admirals to establish, to have self-control is to establish clear expectations. So clearly communicate expectations for behavior, both at home and also in school. Provide explicit instructions about what is acceptable and unacceptable behavior. Okay? And then it's important for us to also model self-control, demonstrate to them what is self-control in your own behavior. So children, they often learn by observing adults. Also, teach relaxation techniques. So what you can do is introduce, these are some of the things that we will also introduce in class with our Admirals. So you can introduce relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, counting to 10, or getting them to take a break. So practice these techniques together in calm moments so that they become familiar for self-regulation. Okay. Then you can also ensure that consequences for actions are consistent and related to the behavior. So consistency helps children understand the connection between their actions and outcomes. And in terms of self-control, the last point that you can take note is to build a supportive environment. So it's important for us to foster an environment where children, they feel safe to express their feelings and seek support when needed. So self-control is a developmental process and progress may be gradual. So celebrate small victories and provide ongoing support as children develop and refine their self-control skills. Okay. In fact, there are actually many picture books that you can use to teach our Admirals how to practice self-control. Here, a quote says, "Children are made readers on the laps of their parents." Do read to your children so that they will also enjoy reading. Okay, next skill is the organization skill, is what we want our students to have. So some ways that you can help them at home will be establish routines, create consistent daily routines for morning, after school and bedtime activities. So maybe inform them that they have to learn how to pack their bags, okay, the night before, so that they, perhaps the first few weeks you can help them pack their bags together with them, but slowly give them the autonomy, let them be independent. Right? Routines provide structure and predictability, helping children organize their time effectively. So another way is you can use visual schedules. Utilize visual schedules or charts to outline daily tasks and activities. So do remind our admirals, I've mentioned earlier, to check their timetable. It is important for them to bring all their learning materials according to the timetable given. Give them the sense of responsibility to ensure that their stationery are all ready for the school and the next day. Because I realize some of our children, they will come to school with all their blunt pencils. So make sure it's all sharpened and then they are ready in school to learn. Also, we can teach our admirals to organize physical space. Teach them how to organize their desks, backpacks, and play areas. Okay? And do provide clear instructions. So some children, they take some time to internalize the instructions, do break down the task into clear and manageable steps. Clearly communicate expectations and deadlines to help children organize their approach. So I know it is not easy sometimes, but let's do this together, parents. So consistency, patience, and positive reinforcement are key when we are helping children develop organizational skills. All right. So the last one that I want to talk about is attention. So attention influences a child's ability to focus, sustain attention, and manage distractions. Here are strategies to promote attention skills in kids. So first, you can create a structured environment. Okay, ensure it's a clutter-free environment that minimizes distractions, so that they can study and study without any distractions. Next, let's encourage our admirals to practice active listening. Okay, what you can do is teach them, let's teach them together how to make eye contact, nodding, and paraphrasing. Active listening helps maintain focus during conversations and instructions. All right. Next, limit screen time. I know some children, they have quite long hours of screen time. Let's try to limit that. Okay, set reasonable limits on screen time and choose age-appropriate educational content. I think sometimes we have to make sure we know what our children are watching. Excessive screen time can contribute to attention difficulties. And then we can also encourage them to finish their task, foster a sense of accomplishment by encouraging children to complete tasks before moving on to the next one. So this reinforces the ability to sustain attention. So it's important to remember that attention skills vary among children and development occurs over time. Consistently applying these strategies, adjusting based on the child's individual needs, and fostering a supportive environment contribute to the improvement of attention skills in children. So I hope these strategies that we have shared with you are useful and will help our admirals grow to become inspiring and empathetic leaders with a strong global outlook. We have now really come to the end of our year-head talk. Do you have any questions? Okay, Okay, looks like we don't have any questions from our P1 and P2 parents. Once again, thank you so much for taking your time off for this Zoom. So now P1 and P2 parents can start going to the different Zoom that your child's form teacher has sent to you via the communication channels such as WhatsApp, Parents Gateway, or Class Dojo. Thank you so much, parents. Have a good day.
I will play the song. Okay, can. and good afternoon, parents. I'm Madam Faiza here, the assistant year head for P3 and P4. Probably let's give us another 1 or 2 minutes for other parents. Maybe they are actually still stuck, with the other sessions to join us. Yeah, parents, maybe let's give about 1 to 2 minutes more. Thank you, parents. All right, it's 4:32, and I shall start now. Okay, once again, welcome parents. I'm Madam Faiza, the assistant year head for P3 and P4. Together with me here, we have our school leaders and also my fellow year head team. All right, parents, before I start, just some housekeeping matters. Okay, the video recording of today's session, will be uploaded in our school's YouTube site. So please give us 2-3 days for us to actually upload it in school YouTube. Parents, if you have any questions, please type under the Q&A tab at the bottom of the Zoom screen. At the end of the session, I'll be answering some of the questions, and throughout today's session, I'll also be addressing some concerns and questions that you have posted in the PG as I go along during the session, yeah? Okay, parents, if you need to contact me with regards of any matters, P3 and P4 matters, this is my email. You can even call the school general office and then they will give your message to me. Yeah. So parents, this is the agenda for today. This is what I'll be sharing with all of you. All right. I'll be talking about the support network that we have for our admirals, P3 and P4 admirals. And also I'll be talking about partnership with parents. I think this is very important, matter that, that we can, work together to get the best outcome for our students. Yeah. I also be sharing some key information pertaining to the P3 and P4. And I'm sure parents are very curious about the assessments at P3, P4 levels. So at the end, I'll also share with you the level programs and activities that our admirals will go through this year. All right, parents. The support network in Admiralty, that we have our children, that our admirals can turn to for encouragement, support, and advice. We have a group of people that look into our students' well-being. Right, having a support system means that our admirals have people to rely on when they need them the most. It means that the support system in our school would enable our admirals, to go through, to pass this primary school and overcome the challenges it is. All right. This is our school development team, consists of all the year heads and also our HOD discipline, Mr. Miu Beng. All right. The P3 and P4 admirals will have known Madam Yani and Madam Fahana. Okay. And next year, my P4s, I will hand over them to Mr. Yo, okay, who'll be looking into their well-being. Other than the school development team, we also have our school counselor who provides counseling, emotional and social support to students who are facing challenges in development. Okay, in terms of academic support, if our children require further academic support, okay, we also have our special education needs officer who are supporting some group of students, yeah, to be able for them to manage and cope with their emotions or situations, okay, and face the challenges they are facing. All right, parents, having a good support network is a vital tool in maintaining our admirals' mental health and well-being. As you can see here, our admirals have many people around them who can help them. You know, as you can see, the support network can consist of a variety of interactions with a range of different people who can support our admirals in multiple ways. You can see we have the yearheads, their friends, their form teachers, their subject teachers, their CCA teachers, their CCA mates, and even their coach or trainers, in the CCA that they are in. So parents, if when during a conversation you find that your child is facing some problems, some challenges, do approach us or approach any of us, so that we can help your child. I mentioned just now, parents, the school value of partnership. During the yearheads session, Mr. Chen's session, we talked a lot about partnership with parents because we find that it is very, very important. Okay, we want to forge good relationship through regular engagement with parents. As you can see that our school, we do have town hall sessions, for you, to be able to stay engaged with us and find out more about school and how to help our admirals so that we can achieve the outcomes that we want in our admirals. Okay, parents, I just want to highlight this. All of us, we have the same goal. Okay, we want to bring out the best in our admirals. Okay, let's work hand in hand, okay, to ensure that our children have the best experience in Admiralty. I think you have seen this during Mr. Chen's session, okay, about our minister, okay, talking about giving children space to grow and be independent. But I want to highlight one part that our Minister Chan mentioned, the partnership between parents and teachers, okay, is important. He mentioned that if there's no partnership, then okay, we will not be able to help the children. But okay, what the school and the parents can do is that we work in hand so that okay, what the school do is not undone by the parents. Okay, otherwise, whatever we do in school is undone by the time they are outside school because they'll be very confused. All right, parents. Okay, the school say send this message, but then at home it's a different kind of message. They'll be conflicting. At P3 and P4, okay, they think that the school is their home, and at home they also have you who's going to support them. So partnership is very important. Okay. Every parent is a supportive parent. What does it mean? Parents, you are our key partners in delivering holistic education for our students. I think parents, your involvement and support in school program is very crucial to bring out the best in all our students. Okay, parents, we encourage parents to work with us, to work with the school, to create a conducive learning environment so that, you can bring a different kind of, so that we can bring a different kind of, inspiration, wisdom to our children's journey and complement and participate in, and we do hope that parents, you can participate and support in our school programs. All right, parents, a way that you can work with our teachers, okay, we want to know that you want every admiral to know that there's something in them that they can bring to the table. We always encourage them to voice out. Okay, we want to have the VAA. We talk about agency, we talk about voice. Okay, we want our children to be able to have the courage, to voice out. So parents, this way you can have a conversation with your child at home. I think just now during Mr. Chen's session, he already mentioned about our school team, going deeper into our school team this year. Okay. And also we can work together, to work on our admirals' weaknesses and also to be able to work on their talents and stretch their talents and strengths. So parents, we hope that together we can monitor their progress. Let them have sharing session with you to share their experience in school. I understand that, sometimes children do bring home stories, say that, things happen in school. So I hope that parents, let's work together. Let's seek to clarify. I also understand that parents, you will text teachers, telling teachers about what has happened, and also seek, some clarification from the teachers. So thank you for that. We do value your feedback. Okay, if there's any concerns, challenges, or any proposal, that the school can do better, do inform us. All right. Just hope that parents, you give us an opportunity to listen and understand what's happening, for example, and explore the possibilities with us. All right. At P3, I understand that at P2, sometimes parents, you are always very involved in their learning. For example, like homework, what the child having homework. So at this year, at P3, okay, let your child have the responsibility to, to take charge of his or her own learning. Parents, if you want to know whether your child has any homework, okay, we always ask the children to write it in the companion book. Okay, because I understand that some parents do still rely on the teacher's information, what are the homework for the day. So I think parents, maybe you can, let's work together, and then let's work on this so that the children can take charge of their own learning. All right, parents, in terms of communication, I think you have already met the form teachers. They already inform you about the communication channels, the platforms that you can get to, connect with them. Okay. Okay, both my colleagues and I will respond to you during the working hours. I think these have been mentioned to you, I think, in the last school letter. Okay, you can send us messages in the comms channel platforms that the teachers have shared with you. However, parents, I do seek your understanding if you do not reply during the period, like after 6 p.m. or even during weekends. The teacher definitely will reply to you, okay, as soon as possible. Just to highlight that some teachers, they have lessons back to back. They may during their non-teaching periods, they may also be engaged in like certain other duties. So we seek your understanding. Do give teachers time to reply to you. If you need to seek clarification. Yeah. Like this last statement mentioned that we can serve you better and we take good care of ourselves and our loved ones, because teachers also have families. I want my teachers to have work-life balance, and I'm sure that our teachers appreciate your understanding in this matter. Yeah. Unless it's emergency, then the teacher will not respond after 6 p.m. also weekends. But if it's really, really urgent, parents, do give us a call. Do call the GO, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. All right, key information pertaining to the level. All right, first and foremost about the P3 Gifted Education Program. All right, for P3 parents, okay, this Gifted Education Program, okay, it's not for everybody. However, we have this GEP screening exercise, which all parents can opt in. Just to highlight that not all students are ready to handle the intellectual rigor and demands of this program. I understand that some parents have already started sending your child for enrichment program pertaining to this GEP gifted program. So parents, just to stress this again, that we will not want you to put any stress on the pupils, and because this may even let them lose confidence and impact their self-esteem if in the end they are not able to get through this GEP program. So parents, take note of these two sessions. There will be screening exercise on the 15th of August, and then only selected students will be going on to the next phase, which is the selection exercise. Okay, if you see here, more information will be given out to you, okay, in July, okay, once I've received the information from Ministry of Education. All right. Just to highlight something again, like I mentioned just now about parents sending their child for enrichment course, all that, with regards to this program, the test preparation activities could actually inflate the pupil score and not reflect the actual potential, okay, for this program. Yeah. Okay. This one of the questions that parents ask in the Parents Gateway. Parents actually asked about the P4 subject-based banding. Okay, parents, do not worry. We'll have a session, just a town hall session, okay, regards to P4 subject-based banding. Just to give you a brief, short brief about what is subject-based banding. It's different from the secondary school subject-based banding. Okay, parents, do not be confused. Okay, this P4 subject-based banding is basically promoting our children with the option to take standard subjects or, even foundation subjects. However, in our school, we have a different policy. It's a bit different from other schools. Okay, we'll share with you our school policy. However, one point to note that in our school, we want to encourage more students to take higher mother tongue. Yeah. Okay, parents, do look out for the town hall session P4 parents on this P4 subject-based spending. Okay. All right, parents. Assessments. Okay, I'm sure my P3 parents are very excited to know what the kind of assessments that your child will go through, sit for this year. Okay. Okay, we have 3 kinds. One is the non-weighted assessment. The other one is weighted assessment and the end of the year assessment. All right. Parents, okay, we also have formative assessment that is going on. Okay, it's ongoing to help teachers understand the student learning, what they teach, and provide with the information to adjust the teaching strategies accordingly to the child's needs, okay, to the student's needs. So other than just paper and pen, all right, parents, we do have other assessment like performance tasks and also integrated tasks. Okay, for performance tasks, you can see that, okay, basically the child is being assessed according to what they can apply, okay, to real life situation, like journaling and the use of manipulative. Okay, so like integrated tasks, okay, you see the combination of assessment modes like reading, the conversation, show and tell. Yeah, so parents, like mentioned just now, it's not just pen and paper. We have other forms of assessment. Okay, this is a P3 assessment weighting. So parents, if you look at this assessment weighting for all the subject, you can look at, term 1. For English and mother tongue, we have this LC. LC is actually listening comprehension. So it's actually 15% of the total overall. For math and science, you can see here, all right, there's a footnote down here, okay, with regards to the assessment for science and math. All right, for science, journaling, and learning disposition, it will be throughout term 2 and term 3. So in term 1, there's no weighted assessment for science and math. All right, so for math, you can see the performance assessment is throughout the whole year. Yeah, so they are a bit bite-sized. Okay. Here they mentioned term 2. Okay, there are some assessment that actually the children have to sit for. Okay, partial paper. Partial paper means that some of the components are not tested. Okay, you can see, at the end of the year, if they mention that full paper, that means that they will, be seated for full paper. The time will be longer. Okay, more items will be tested. Okay. So you can see the spread of the assessment weighting. Term 1, okay, for English and mother tongue, we have 15%. Then term 2, okay, all the subjects will have a weightage of 15%. Then term 3, and then the term 4 will be 55%. Yeah. All right. So for P4, parents, okay, it looks similar, but there's a difference. Okay, you can see here there's a in term 4 for P4 for math, there's a full paper, okay, as compared to term 2 where there's a partial paper. Like I mentioned just now, there may be some items that is not tested in term 2. All right, so for the end of the year, okay, the full paper, all right, so all items, and do not worry, because what the child will be seated for, okay, the teachers, the subject teachers will inform you. Yeah. Okay, parents, okay, here is there are some level programs and activities for P3 and P4. I just want to highlight important program that is, pertaining to our level, which is the one-to-one learning device program. This also to answer some parents' questions with regards to the device usage at P3 and P4. All right, just to highlight this again, because I think some parents did not attend, not able to attend my sharing last year, okay, with regards to this device program. And also it is also for new parents who are new to the school. Okay, what is this program about and how it's being carried out? I think when you met the form teachers, you may have already get an idea what it is about, and also teachers may have already shared with you some of the routines, okay, and also the rules that they have in place for the children in the class. Okay, again, okay, one-to-one learning device program. Okay, it's a program that's very unique to Admiralty. It's a program whereby the children will bring their own device. Okay, in Admiralty, many children actually opt in for iPad. But we do have students who do have admirals who actually brought in, tabs, Samsung tabs to be used in the classroom. It is a long-standing program that's evolved. I think Mr. Chen has mentioned it during his sharing. Okay, it started of 2013. Okay, and we progress, through the years. There are some changes that we make. Okay, that is where I think parents are still having this idea that we still have iPad and not iPad class. Okay, because we do have question. My child didn't opt, but how come my child is still in a device class? How come there's no more no iPad class? Parents, I already mentioned that there's no longer iPad and no iPad class. The child at P2 to P3, they are being banded, okay, according to their learning disposition and aptitude. So this is why there's a change in this program, because when we do the no iPad class and iPad class, we see that some students are actually struggling. Okay, because we need to look at the needs of the children when we do the the banding. Okay, just to highlight that, parents, the school will determine the apps and programs to be installed in the child's iPad. All right. However, okay, you still can download any apps or programs when your child go home using your own Apple ID, because in school the child will be given an Apple ID. We will be the one to push the necessary applications that the child will need for their learning. Yeah. And then the iPad will be controlled by the school administrators during school hours from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. So parents, after 4 p.m., all right, when the child goes home, okay, you can actually log into your Apple ID, and they can then the apps will surface. Whatever apps that it has been blocked when the child comes to school, it actually will resurface. All right. Some parents do ask the child, do my child have to bring their devices every day? Yes, we actually encourage the admirals to bring every day. Okay. However, we also understand that some teachers have made some arrangement when the child have to bring. Okay, and the device usage will depend on the class needs. Parents, I hope you understand that at P3, okay, they are still starting. All right. And in January alone, we are actually trying to help the children to reset their password, to try to log into certain application like like SLS, their Google Classroom. So definitely right now, okay, parents, your child may not be using the iPad fully, because you are still receiving, the iPads from the children to be enrolled to MDM. Okay, what is MDM? Okay, I will, will actually explain to you much later. Just need your understanding, parents. The child at P3, they are still learning the foundation of the use of the device. They are still navigating the device. So we seek your understanding, parents. If you think that the child, they have not used, or maybe the teacher only used a very simple application like note taking in school, because I mentioned just now at P3 they are just starting. Yeah, so we hope you understand. At P4, I think now you can see that the children are using it more regularly. In terms of the use of device is more pervasive at P4. So at P3, they are still learning. They are learning different application, and different teachers will be using different application. However, don't worry, parents. We will actually we will guide them what are the applications that to be used in school. Yeah. Okay, for parents who are new and parents who wants to know more about the program, I also have input it the QR code and also the link for parents to to find out more what this one-to-one learning device is all about. Okay, parents, learning one-to-one is the way to go. The educational landscape has changed, and as Mr. Chen mentioned, we will go. We will carry on with this. Okay, even though there's a lot of challenges. Yeah. All right. Parents, do not worry. There'll be an MDM workshop for you to join us. What is this MDM? It's a application whereby you can manage your child's device remotely. Yeah, when after they go home, you are not at home, it's okay, because you can actually control the device when you're at work, anytime, anywhere. Yeah. So this MDM workshop will be held in February. I will share the details more in PG. So look out for it. So my P4 parents, if you wish to join us, please do so. Yeah. And also we also have a town hall about cyber awareness, just to share with parents some tips, and what are the children going through, in terms of cyber awareness in school. Yeah. So parents, just now like I mentioned, partnership. I also welcome feedback from parents, sharing of issues and challenges that your child may face while using the device. Maybe there are also other concerns, that when you are talking to your child, maybe about usage of device, but maybe in terms of cyber awareness. Do let us know. Yeah. I'm very appreciative of parents who actually inform us, telling us, hey, Madam Faiza, there's a group, my child has and his friends or her friends actually created a communication platform for them to to share things. Then we will have to monitor. Then we will take the iPad and we take a look whether whether there's anything concerning in the platforms that they are using. So parents, all this feedback, we really really welcome you. Okay. All right. So parents, beginning of the year, okay, I have a session with the children in regards to this device policy. Madam Masni, who is also the program IC, talk to the children with regards to the usage of this device. FTs have already gone through the content of the policy of our students. Okay, parents, if you want to know more, you can look at the companion book. Okay, it actually shows what are the users' responsibility, how the children can use the device responsibly, and also the consequences of the misuse of the device. So parents, do look through. Maybe you can have conversation with your child with regards to the use of device also. Yeah. As parents and guardian, okay, I hope that you can also help us in some ways, like model good digital habits for your child. Like for example, during meals, maybe refrain okay from using devices. Like I mentioned just now, you can have conversation with your child about the safe and responsible use of technology at home, okay, and wherever they are, and maybe parents, like I mentioned just now, once you have the MDM, you can help to monitor the usage at home beyond school, because in school we have reset the routines. We actually block certain websites that children cannot go to. But however, at home, parents, you need to set the ground rules for the internet and device usage at home. Yeah. These are some programs that we have for our P3 and P4 level. Okay, the ICT structured program, okay, will be starting in term 2 and term 3. For P3, they'll be learning about Microsoft Excel, very simple Microsoft Excel, okay, skills. And at P4, they'll be doing video editing. Okay, Madam Shamila, our IT trainer, will be training them in video editing in terms of using the iMovie and also PowerPoint video. Another program that I think the P3 currently going through is the CCM program. I think P4, the P4 will be doing it in term 3. So parents, there are some. Okay, I just share with you the timing so that you can schedule, can plan ahead. Okay, regards to this CCM, yeah. Okay. I think, okay, next is of our P3, okay, the Swim Safer program. Details have already been sent out through PG by Mr. Vincent Craig, the teacher IC. So if you have any queries, do let us know, okay? The program will commence in term 2, week 1. Yeah, parents, P3 parents. Okay, just now, we talk about, I think the P1, P2, you talk about executive functioning. Yes, I think in Admiralty, you want our children to have these executive functioning skills. What are the skills about? Okay, it's about getting the children to be able to organize themselves, to be able to perform tasks and even solve problems. These are cognitive skills that I think is very critical for the learning and development. Okay, development. So parents, for P3 and P4, we actually have engaged, someone to actually go through this workshop with them. Okay, at P3, P4, we are focusing more on the inner self-building and mental resilience. At P3, I find that some children actually they are struggling and still facing some challenges because they are learning new things. They are having CCA. They're learning new things like science subject. Okay, so during our termly check-in, we will sometimes, last year at P3, we find out that they are actually facing a lot of stress and challenges. So we hope that, with this workshop, it would actually help them Okay, it's not just a one-time workshop, but the form teachers will follow through with them. Yeah, okay. So these are the dates of workshop for my P3, for P3. For P4, more details will be given. All right. So parents, do look out for my PG message with regards to the dates of the workshops. Yeah. So with that, I shall end the P3 session. Is there any Q&A? Okay, we shall have our Q&A session. Okay, let me see. Okay, we have this one question with regards to YouTube. Okay, where SLS, okay, I think teacher embed YouTube in SLS. It is difficult for us to manage. Is there any way to avoid from YouTube and release through other platforms? You understand that parents, you're worried that the child will be accessing other YouTube channel other than the one that the teacher had put in SLS. Actually, in SLS, normally the teacher will embed the video. Yeah, embed the video that the child needs to watch, okay, pertaining to the SLS assignment. Yeah. Okay, there's another question about any plan for P4 E2K program. I think we have our school, I think E2K program, but there's a weaving into the subjects. Yeah. So it's not really like, okay, we have this E2K, everybody go for this program, but it's actually weaved into the curriculum. Yeah, curriculum.
So if I may just add on
yeah.
to what Madam Lisa has mentioned about the E2K programs is
Mm.
we don't do it as a separate program after
Mm.
school. And then that really, I think, ties up the entire school calendar. And then you realize that if we really do run it in that modality, we will need children to stay back after school, right? And those who are participating in a particular E2K program, they won't be able to participate in other programs, so on and so forth. The way that we have done it is that we actually retrieve and get all the good elements from the program itself, and then we weave it into our curriculum. So we are doing that for math. We are looking at how we want to do it for science as well, as an example. Just for all parents, in case you are not aware what E2K is all about, E2K is somewhat like a stretch program of sorts for our children in subjects like math, in science, and in fact, actually for all our different subjects, even in English, we have our way of also trying to stretch our students, especially for children who show that they have the potential to go beyond just what is required as part of the core curriculum that's provided now. In our school, you will realize that at certain levels, we also do give our children literature, the literature program for EL. That is an example of our programs whereby we actually do expose our children beyond just what is the fundamentals in our English language curriculum. So just as an example for that. So yeah, to the question of whether E2K for everyone, now we don't have a program as a separate thing. In fact, what we do is that we take the elements, we weave it into our core curriculum for our students. And we also want to ensure that first and foremost, the fundamentals of all our children are taken care of. So wanted to assure all parents that is the most important thing. Right, E2K is not relevant for the children when it comes to the national exams, okay, and when it comes to our own school-based exams, we don't look at E2K. But E2K does expose our children, the elements of it does expose our children to higher order thinking skills and some of the higher order content. And we actually do take some of these elements and we weave it to the curriculum.
Okay, there's a question about Dojo Island game from Class Dojo app. Okay, can school disable the Dojo Island? Okay, if it's using the school device, like iPad, we can block the Class Dojo game. Thank you, parents. All right. Thank you, parents, for joining us. I think it's already 5:05. Okay. If you still do have any questions, okay, do connect with us. I've already shared with you my email address. Okay. You also can contact me through the general office number. All right. With that, I think I end this session. Thank you, parents, for joining us. Thank you. I shall end